I'm Tom Mitzi, Theaters Director for the City of Thousand Oaks, and my guest today on Thousand Oaks Living History is Ed Lawrence. Ed, welcome to Thousand Oaks Living History.
Thank you, Tom.
Ed, when did you come to the Conejo Valley?
I came here in 1959. I started the first camera store in Thousand Oaks. It's opposite where the Toyota dealership is today, where Harold's House of Omelets is. Then in '63 we moved to the Jan's Mall.
What brought you to the Conejo Valley?
The beauty of the place. Before I came here, I lived in Canoga Park, and on weekends this was our favorite drive, coming out to the Conejo Valley. Such a beautiful area. Just to come out here and admire the scenery was, I think, what attracted everybody to come out here. It was such a beautiful area.
Can you tell us some of your earliest memories of the Conejo?
Well, there are many memories, but some of the earliest ones was the fact that a gal by the name of Donna Fargo, she knew everybody in town, knew everything that occurred in town. She got permission for me to go on a ranch over where Westlake Village is today to take a picture of her Conejo Valley Days program. And they wouldn't allow anybody on the ranch over there because they were doing movies. They'd have as many as 5 movie companies on the ranch. And so I went over there and I saw one of the cowboys, and I says, "Where's a good spot to take a picture from?" He pointed to Hiller and he says, "Pork Chop Hill." It was the hill where they did a Korean War movie starring Gregory Peck. They did the whole movie on that hill. He says, "The top of that hill." So I climbed the hill there, and I sat waiting for 3 hours for clouds to form. And I took the picture, and then I made a 1620, and I gave it to the manager of the ranch, who gave it to the owner, and they liked it so much, they says, "You can go on the ranch anytime you want." They gave me free reign to the ranch. And that opened all doors for me throughout the Conejo Valley then. And to me, that was probably the biggest, or most important thing that happened to me out here.
How has Thousand Oaks changed since you've been here?
Well, you know, it is going very well, but there's things that I see today that I'm not too happy with, you know. When you first come to Thousand Oaks, even the most inexpensive house had a nice yard. Today, there are more and more homes jammed per acre and no yards.
If you were going to describe Thousand Oaks to someone who'd never been here, what would you tell them?
I'd say it's one of the most beautiful spots in Southern California, as we have beautiful mountain range behind us, separates from the ocean. We have a wonderful climate, a Mediterranean style climate, I guess it's called. We have very nice mild winters, and our summers are not hot like it is in the other areas like the San Fernando Valley. And so far we're relatively free of the LA smog, because fortunately the wind blows from the ocean and blows inland rather than out toward Thousand Oaks. So these are some of the most wonderful things out here, I think.
What's been your most memorable experience while you've lived here?
Well, there's quite a few. The fact that I got to go on the ranch over there and photograph cattle roundups that occurred there. And this, to me, was some of the part of the history of the area that dates back to the 1800s, when some of the early settlers came here. And it continued right up to the time of development here. So these are important things. And the man who had the sheep in the area, too, he would contact me every time they were doing something with a sheep. And to me, these are people are the important part of the history of the Conejo Valley. And I think they're the ones that really are the pioneers. And like I say, they had even these sheep herds from Spain that they brought over, and they were part of the Conejo Valley history here too. So these are all important to the Conejo Valley, these things. And I think it's important that you know, we try to hold on to as many of these memories as possible.
Is there one person that you think has had the greatest impact on Thousand Oaks or the Conejo Valley?
Well, I'd say the Jans family. They are the people that really had the land that opened it up for development. So I'd say they had more impact on the Conejo Valley than any other person, because they were the ones that really got the development started here, that created Thousand Oaks or the Conejo Valley.
What's been your greatest personal accomplishment since you've lived here?
Well, you know, people tell me, "You must have had wonderful insight to take all these photographs of the area to preserve her history. I wasn't thinking of history. I was just having a wonderful time. And I had areas that I think everybody in Thousand Oaks wished they could have been in my shoes, to go and see the roundups and the sheep going through the heart of Thousand Oaks. I think everybody in Thousand Oaks, if they had known these sheep were going to come right through Thousand Oaks on Moore Park Road and Thousand Oaks Boulevard, I think half the community would have been down there. Or if you had asked somebody, gee, they're having the last roundup, cattle roundup in Thousand Oaks, how would you like to be there? I think everybody in town would have flocked there. So I had these opportunities that nobody else had. And they say, you know, like I say, oh, you must have had all this planned for you. No, if I was thinking of history, there's many more things I would have photographed. I did it because I enjoyed it, and I still do it today. I climb these hills all the time. When there's some activity like that, I like to get involved in it also.
Mm-hmm. You were telling me earlier that you climb Fireworks Hill in search of the perfect sunset.
Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately, see, I'm still active photographer. I'm 75 and I still do a lot of photography. Most of it's in Northern California. I specialize in horse photography. And it's a grueling type of activity. It's the type of show that Christopher Reeve got injured in. The riders ride a course that's anywhere from 1.5 miles to 3 miles long. They take higher divisions, take as many as 25, 30 jumps. They jump into ponds and over big logs. And it's all in Northern California. So I'm on the road a lot. But coming home from a show one night, I was coming into the Simi Valley, and here was the most beautiful sunset I had ever seen over the Conejo Valley. The sky was the most brilliant orange I'd seen, and I couldn't make it in time to record it. So I keep looking for something similar to occur. And like I say, I climb Fireworks Hill when I think there's going to be a sunset, and most of the times it doesn't materialize, but sooner or later, I think I'll get it.
What are your hopes for the future of Thousand Oaks?
Well, I hope that, you know, we can preserve as much of this open space as possible, and I'm glad to see areas like Hill Canyon were preserved, because I think it's important for future generations to have this available to them. Because in Southern California, that's a thing that's pretty hard to find anymore. Every day you see developments in the paper occurring in areas. I've seen today in the paper where down in Joshua Tree, they're planning big major developments down there. So, you know, to save as much of this open space as possible is, I think, very, very important.
What's the greatest treasure the city of Thousand Oaks has to offer its residents?
I think the open space. They have fantastic hiking trails here, and I'm amazed that people don't take more advantage of them. I hike them all times. There's times when I'll hike all day and won't see a soul there. I think the most one that they hike the most is probably out in the Wildwood area. But there are fantastic other trails. We have an Oak Creek Trail down here, very close to the freeway. It's you can enter it through Moore Park Road and Green Meadows Drive. In the summer, it is a beautiful, cool, shaded area. And it's very rarely that I see people even walking it. And it's suitable for people in wheelchairs and blind people. So it's a wonderful place to take, especially young children, because it's a nice, easy trail and very relaxing. And I'm just amazed that the people don't take more advantage of this.
What's the biggest challenge facing Thousand Oaks?
Well, there's quite a few challenges. I think education, I think, is probably one of the most important things. We have good schools here, and to maintain these schools, I think that is more important for the kids. I think also, most Thousand Oaks is relatively free of gangs. If we can keep it that way, I think that's very important, especially for the children growing up.
Who are your heroes?
Well, you know, the heroes to me are the little people. You know, I met wonderful people, and most of them are the little people of early Thousand Oaks. Some of the cowboys I met, the sheep herders. Nick Costa was a wonderful man, and I wish I had been closer to him and, you know, wean more information from him. And I guess quite a few. I think the Goebbels family were wonderful people. I always liked Kathy and Lou Goebbels. And I met many, many, many wonderful people. Bell Holloway, one of the old timers. Slim Pickens was a very good friend, and I hated to see him leave, and then he passed away not long after he left. But like I say, there's countless, countless people. Donna Fargo, She was a very controversial figure. A lot of people either loved her or hated her, but I got along wonderful with her, and she did many wonderful things for me. So there's not just one, there's many, many, many people. I can't just point out one.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a personal model?
Not really. I just, I try to live, to me, by the golden rule, and I try to apply that to everybody, and I feel, just, treat them the same as you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important.
How would you like history to remember you here in Thousand Oaks?
Well, I don't think I'm important as much as what I have is important. Because the pictures I've taken tell some of the story of what happened in Thousand Oaks. And that's the important thing. We had wonderful movie sets I wish I would have preserved as part of the history of the area. Because this was a wonderful area for the movie industry. They loved this area. And nobody ever kept a record of all the films and all the things that were done out here in the movie and TV industry. And it would have been a wonderful thing if we had had that record to show what all they did. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think that's important to preserve what we have, not preserve individuals. I think that's the important thing.
What haven't we asked you that we should ask you, or what would you like to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of things I'd like to talk about. I would love to see Hidden Valley stay the way it is. To me, that is the jewel of the Conejo, and I would love to see it preserved. And I've talked to many people, and when they have company from visiting from elsewhere, and I myself the same way, one of the first things I do is take them over to Hidden Valley and say, look what we have here. Isn't this a wonderful, beautiful thing to have? And the people tell me the same thing. They take their friends over and show them like, hey, look at what we have. We're proud of this. So we're hoping that something like that can stay the way it is.
Well, Ed, thank you very much for coming down and talking to us today on Thousand Oaks Living History.
Thank you, Tom. I enjoyed it very much. And I think it's very important that, the newcomers, I'm really amazed at what little they know about Thousand Oaks. And we put on a slideshow, they're amazed at what they weren't aware of, what we had here, and the wonderful things that were here before they came here. They said, God, I didn't realize you had all that out here before we came here. We realize how much more wonderful this place is now. And I think that's important to the newcomers too, because I think they will take more pride in the community than if they realize what it was like before. And they'll try to hold on to what we've got. And that's important.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
Thank you.